We bring in friend of the show, the play-by-play voice of the Vanderbilt Commodores for just a couple minutes. That would be Joe Fisher. Joe, Vince, and Mike Griffith. Good morning, Joe. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Good to be with you guys again.
Well, great to have you, Joe. And let's start offensively. There's some excitement with a lot of guys returning. Jordan Rogers. Kind of talk about some of those key things that we have learned through camp, and then you're excited about heading into this year with that Vanderbilt offense.
Well, it was an offense that put some points on the board, as you well know, toward the end of last year, and I think you're excited because almost all those guys are back. 9 returning starters, Jordan Rogers with a year under his belt, clearly the leader of this offense, and has done a really good job of, I think, learning from mistakes from last year, and he's anticipating a big year. Of course, Zach Stacy back after a single-season rushing record last year, and he should have more help in the backfield this year. Warren Norman has looked really good after missing a year with injury, and we expect him to get quite a bit of playing time. Of course, Jerron Seymour is a sophomore this year after a good freshman season, and a new true freshman in out of Memphis, and Brian Kimbrough, that is going to play right away. He's a young man that has really shown his skills in preseason practice. He's got great speed. So we've got quite a number of weapons in the backfield, and then you return the veteran receivers like a Jordan Matthews and Chris Boyd and John Cole. I mean, there are a lot of weapons around him, and I think Jordan's very happy about that, and he's excited because that offensive line is also a year more experienced now and should be much better than even last year.
What about the schedule? How does that break down for the Doors? I mean, we always think about Vanderbilt having a lack of depth, and it always seems so important who they play at the end of the year when they seem like they're missing a couple elements. How's the depth, and how does the schedule look?
I think the depth is actually pretty good. One reason I think I can say that is we lost some key players from the defense to graduation, of course, Chris Marv and Casey Hayward, guys like that. But the guys that are stepping in to replace them are guys that all played last year. And the backups to them are guys that got some playing time last year as well for the most part. So I think the depth situation is a lot better than it had been in recent years. And really, we find out a lot about ourselves early. You look at the first part of the schedule, of course, opening with South Carolina here, then a road trip to Northwestern, and then a stretch of 4 straight, as a matter of fact, Georgia, Missouri, Florida, Auburn. So we'll know in the first half of our season what kind of team we've got and what kind of maybe hopefully stretch run we can make. But I think for the grand scheme of things, I think the coaching staff is pretty happy with the depth situation right now.
Visiting with Joe Fisher, getting a Vanderbilt preview in 2012. Last thing with you, Joe, we talked about the schedule with them preparing for next week, but who are some of the new guys that are exciting that you guys have seen that you think will have an opportunity to contribute early? I know one of the names that I think you're going to bring up at running back is a name that's familiar to Tennessee fans.
Well, yeah, I mentioned him a little while ago, Brian Kimbrough, who is probably the fastest player on the team out of Memphis East High School. He's only 5'8", but he's had some time in the backfield. I've been really impressed not only with his speed, but he runs hard. I mean, he's not a guy that's just a scat back that doesn't like contact and all those kind of things. He finishes runs off, and I think he's been very impressive in preseason, and you'll see him right away. You got a chance maybe to see and Andrew Jelks possibly on the offensive line as time goes on. Darren Herring is a true freshman out of Stone Mountain, Georgia, that I think is going to get a lot of playing time defensively at linebacker. So, those are a couple of guys. I think he's basically targeted. Coach Franklin has basically, I think, told 3 of the true freshmen. Caleb Azubike is another one who's a Nashville product out of McGavock High School, a big defensive end. 3 guys I think have been so basically told they have the green light that they can expect to play right away. There are a few other freshmen that are kind of in the wait-and-see attitude, be ready to play, but if we can at all possibly redshirt you, that's what we're going to do. But I think those 3 that I mentioned, you're going to see on Thursday night.
Joe, we're looking forward to it. Nice to have Nashville kicking things off with an SEC game right out of the gate. Someone's going to be happy, someone's going to be sad before anyone else has really started their entire season. But we appreciate the time and always love talking with you.
Thank you, guys. As good as always.
Thank you. That's Joe Fisher, the play-by-play voice of the Vanderbilt Commodores.